This is ENX, the former Texas All-Star Wrestling Cruiserweight Champion, and you're watching Saturday night's main event.
And we are live.
Hey guys, welcome to a very special episode of the Saturday night's main event. I redubbed that the Friday night's main event tonight. Goddamn, I'm fucking this all up. I am your host tonight, Dan the Man, along with my two great friends, Slim Tim and Isaiah. We have a very special guest tonight. He is the voice of Texas All-Star Wrestling. I give you Steven Stellar. How are you tonight?
I'm doing great, man. How are you guys?
Oh, I'm doing great.
Man.
Perfect,
Well, like Tim said
perfect.
from the top, we'll take about an hour of your time, just shoot the shit with you and keep it pretty chill.
Absolutely, let's do it.
But so we usually like to start this one off is how did you become a wrestling fan? What were your earliest memories as a wrestling fan?
Yeah, so I was a wrestling fan ever since I was yay big. Just in the bouncy seat, rocking up and down, and I remember stuff back from WCW, even though I was probably 1, 2 years old. But it's kind of just always been in my family, and we would always get together and watch wrestling, and that's kind of how we connected. So it just kind of took off from a very early age.
Oh, wow. So, which events have you been to when you were younger?
So there's an area called Cape Girardeau. They would have the Show Me Center, is what it's called. There would be a lot of house shows, live events at that arena. So I would go there a lot. Particularly remember a match between Chris Jericho and Mr. Kennedy. I remember Jericho taking popcorn from people in the stands and throwing it at Mr. Kennedy, and Payback up in Chicago, and one of my cousins had a wedding up in Peoria, and mostly events in Chicago, St. Louis area. As I was growing up.
Now the big shows in Chicago, were they at the Rosemont? The big WWE shows?
I believe so. I think one was the Elimination Chamber, so we didn't get the best of the views. I was also at the one where Enzo Amore actually had gotten injured when he got kind of thrown into the ropes there, and that was pretty serious. You could kind of see me on the hard cam in the top right corner with my brother. So yeah.
Yeah, I remember that was the first match of that night, and that was only like 5 minutes into it.
Yeah, it was go in, and then it was just a big sudden, and you could kind of feel the breath in the room just leave the arena, and then everyone obviously very concerned about Enzo, and he gave the thumbs up on his way out. So big round of applause, and the show goes on.
Yeah, Isaiah, you ever get the chance, go on YouTube and watch that. It was scary shit watching it on live on pay-per-view.
Well, if anybody can find the link, I'm sure it's you, Daniel.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, it's always you, Daniel. Always you. Oh,
Dude, when you mentioned house shows, I used to live in the Gulfport, Biloxi area, and we would go to Baton Rouge to watch WWE shows. And I always liked that. We went to a couple house shows and a couple live Raws, and the house shows were always so much better. Like they weren't on such a tight schedule, like a TV timeout schedule and all that. They were. I remember Big Show and Great Khali actually stopped going up and down the ramp to take selfies with people and stuff. It was pretty great.
For sure. They just have a little more time, a little more leeway to kind of just have fun and be themselves. So I think they did. I think they enjoy it too.
Yeah.
yeah.
So you started being a wrestling fan really, really early, and I know most people they kind of their favorite wrestlers change over time. So give me just a brief timeline of who your favorite wrestlers were, like growing up, and like who it evolved into over the years.
Yeah. Okay. I have to give credit to Goldberg. Goldberg, as a baby and a kid growing up, he's pretty much the guy who got me into the business. I think over time it kind of transpired into Chris Jericho. He quickly began to fill into that number one role. I was a really big fan of William Regal growing up back in the WCW days, and then as time went on into the WWF, WWE, very underrated talent, but I love watching Shelton Benjamin matches. I think Shelton Benjamin just brings this form of athleticism at that time that you don't usually see from someone with that type of physique. And then, I guess bringing it to more modern times, it became Batista back in, '05, '08. And then Bray Wyatt, very inspirational for me. And today I would say Kevin Owens.
Nice.
Nice.
Did you watch the new Bray Wyatt documentary?
I haven't yet. I'm not ready, you know. Um,
Yeah.
I I took it very hard when I found out the news. Kind of went into hid my room for a week or two, and kind of just spent some time with family. I remember specifically, yet again, it was at an Elimination Chamber event where Bray had won the championship, and then
Yeah.
Kevin Owens was the champion too at the exact same time, and I was on top of the world. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so just having that person that you've looked up to, and that kind of inspires you to keep moving forward, and not just wrestling itself, but just the creative mindset that guy has. Um, and then to see someone pass so soon, and I know that that's occurred before in the past with guys like Eddie Guerrero and so on, but I think Bray Wyatt just kind of hit home a little more for me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
his hit different.
yeah, it did hit different. I actually watched the documentary, and I mean, to be honest, I mean, growing up watching him, and then him becoming the Fiend, and then him going back and forth. I mean, it actually brought tears to my eyes watching it. And the whole thing. I mean, they talk about from what he did before he came into wrestling, and then when he did come into wrestling, and what they basically, it was kind of like a story like Cody Rhodes. They he went from the FCW, he went to the main roster for a little bit as Husky, if y'all remember that.
Yeah.
And they talked about how he didn't like that name. Well, then Triple H saw something in him, sent him back to NXT, trained a little bit more, and then when he went back to NXT, that's when his character really started to develop, and that's where he became who he is now. As we all know, as him now. But what really got me was right before he passed, they were working on his next Fiend outfit.
Yeah.
And that's what got me, because now all we're gonna see that is with the traveling museum. That's all we're gonna see.
Did you see the new Fiend outfit?
Yeah, it's in the.
I think that's. Sorry.
Oh no, you're good.
I think I saw some stuff on Facebook, but I didn't get to really take a full peek. So go ahead.
No, I was gonna say they actually have it in the documentary towards the end, so you get to see it.
Yeah, and I think we're gonna get something with Uncle Howdy. If you've been watching Raw, like what's his name? Bronson Reed did a promo, and the screen scrambled. You've seen something at the bottom, so Uncle Howdy's coming. That's gonna be
a little flicker.
Do you think that his brother's gonna come back?
Who?
Yeah.
Bo?
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's Uncle Howdy.
Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering about that, because I mean, to see his brother come back would be awesome.
Yeah. I think when the time's right too, when he's ready, and I think that's something that that they're really big on. I mean, Bo's a great talent in and of itself too. One of the very first NXT champions. And he doesn't get like a whole lot of appreciation, but there's so much, even just for him to that's been unscratched, and I think that he's gonna go out there and scratch that surface. But now too, with what has happened, it when something like that happens and it becomes a little more passion, a little bit more emotion, you just you put something more into it that you can't really necessarily force out of yourself. It's just something that comes naturally.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's switch a little gears to a little bit more positive. Now, now this is the first time we've ever had a ring announcer on, so the questions are going to be a little bit altered now. Um, who were some of your inspirations to become a ring announcer? Like, was being a ring announcer something you've always wanted to do?
No, not necessarily. It wasn't really ever in my playbook. Just kind of had an opportunity one day at a show and went out there and did the deed. And I think that I did fairly well, and that just continued to happen, and kind of made me realize, like, like maybe I can do this. But I will say that Bobby the Brain Heenan was a guy that I always liked to watch and listen to. Truthfully, too, even the jackets that you see me wear,
Yeah.
sometimes I kind of pull a little inspiration from him because he would have some of those stylish coats on. Um, Mean Gene Okerlund, legend. I mean, who doesn't love old school? Jim Ross, Jerry Lawler. I think
Yeah.
that's probably one of the best teams around, and you know, and I mean Paul Heyman, not just necessarily commentary or like announcing, but he's kind of like all over the board on that side of the fence. So I've always kind of taken a liking to the creative aspect of what wrestling brings.
That's cool.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, going to the show, seeing you come out, I mean, everyone chanting your name. I mean, how does it feel to you, not being a wrestler, but just being, a ring announcer? How does that feel um, going into the ring, hearing your name chanting the whole time? How does that feel to you?
At first it was just kind of like, wait, is this happening? And the more shows went on, it just kind of became this normal thing. And um, one, it made me obviously feel grateful, but it made me feel loved, and it made me feel like I'm in a place where I belong. And it kind of drives that connection that I have with the crowd even more, because I know that at this point, if they're chanting my name when I'm coming out to the ring, like people are anticipating what it is that I have to say. So it kind of makes me and pushes me to deliver better performances for them. And I'll even say that as my career has progressed and starting to work in different areas, towns, and promotions, I'll look out to the crowd, and I'll see a couple of those supporters that follow me from town to town, and I'll see them with a Steven Stellar shirt on, and it's just kind of like, wow, like people actually are really behind me, and that's kind of just, it does something different. And as you said, like as an announcer, that's not usually the typical forte. So really makes me feel special. So if any of you guys are watching this, thank you so much for the support. I really appreciate you guys.
Well, and you're always guaranteed to, when you come out, Matt will yell out, Stellar!
Yes,
Yeah.
man. Matt's the guy. Matt's the guy in more ways than one. Very appreciative for him, not just at the shows, but outside the shows too. Great friend, and I was kind of poking some fun with him. I was like, man, we need to get some T-shirts out for him and just say "Merch Man Matt" on them. You know what I'm saying? And give that guy some love too. So
Yeah, because
Yeah.
Isaiah, y'all are almost like brothers, right? Y'all have known each
Dude,
other for so long.
Matt is my brother. Like,
Yeah.
we grew up together. We went to school together since like fourth grade. Like that's my dude. And I got a quick story about him, and we'll get back on track. But we went to Vegas. Him, me, my wife, and someone that he had brought. And he's real deep into the elevator elevator repair union. So he knows guys all over the country. And we're sitting there talking, and I just mentioned, I was looking at the menu for the drinks they had, and I just mentioned that I tried this beer in Disney World, and it was specific to a microbrewery out of Miami, and apparently they only ship within a certain radius. And he's like, "What did you say it was called?" And I told him again. He's like, "And what was the name of the brewery?" And I told him again, and he's like, "Hold on." He picked up his phone, called a guy in Miami. He's like, "Hey, you ever heard of MIA Brewery?" He's like, "Yeah, I go there all the time." He's like, "You think you can get me some of the I forget what it was even called now. Oh, Miami Vice, but it was spelled Weiss, like German." And he's like, "You think you can get me some of that?" He's like, "Yeah, how much you want?" Anyway, dude shows up at my house like a month later, and he's got like 6 cases of it. He's like, "Here, you mind if I have?" He said he asked me if I minded if he kept one. I'm like, "Dude, you can keep all but one." I'm like, this is all because of you." And he's like, "Well, you said you wanted it." I'm like, that's just the kind of guy he is. Like, he's got a huge heart of gold. He'd give anyone the shirt off his back. Like, I love that dude so much.
Yeah. Just so we can get back on track real quick. I did have one
I
of
got
our viewers had a question,
Oh,
and
nice.
and
Really?
this is going back to talking about, when you were younger and stuff like that. They're asking, what did you want to do since ring announcer wasn't in your playbook?
Mm. Yeah, okay, great question. And thanks for joining in the feed and participating as well. I always wanted to wrestle. I think that anyone who's ever a fan and watches it, you kind of get that itch and you ask yourself what it's like to step in that ring. And I'm from Illinois and moved down here actually to train Reality of Wrestling about a year or two. Learned from Booker T and Stevie Ray and some of the great trainers that have gone through there. Such as Ruthless Ryan Davison and JJ Blake and Gino at the time, Rob Barnes as well, Chris Russo too. Shout out to that guy. Um, you know, and just honed in there as much as I could. And obviously, when you're at a place like that, you're surrounded by a lot of great company, a lot of great talent, and not only just great talent, but also great people, and also some of those people, on the rise that necessarily hadn't made a name for themselves. So you all kind of grow with each other in some sense, and obviously people uh, break apart and go their own ways and form their own path. But ultimately, what my initial goal was to step in the ring and be a professional wrestler.
Nice. And so,
Now,
oh, go ahead.
I know TASW isn't the only independent promotion you announced for, because I think they just signed you to Top Draw Wrestling, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
And
That's
how is that?
I'm excited. It's going to be my first venture outside of the state of Texas for just wrestling necessarily in general, and getting to announce in front of a new crowd and in a new state of Louisiana. And I really couldn't be more excited for them to bring me on board. And there's going to be a couple familiar faces for me as there for me there as well. And not only that, but there's also going to be some guys that I've kind of looked forward to running into that are going to be there. So just a great opportunity. And then I guess to follow up more on other promotions. Started off announcing with New Texas Pro Wrestling and eventually Undisputed Pro Wrestling, and then Texas All Star Wrestling now. Then shout out to Tomahawk Professional Wrestling, Riot Wrestling Federation, which is a new promotion down here in Texas. And then I don't know if it's announced just yet, but oh well, we're here, right? I'll be at the Fearless show announcing on April 28th, which happens to be my birthday. So just very blessed to be able to announce for the promotions that I've been with, and then also to continue this journey on and get to go to some new promotions as well.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
That's like, I mean, that's a dream come true. Either way, a wrestler or being a ring announcer. I mean, I feel like sometimes I have that voice like you do, but then, I sit behind a mic and I'm like, man, I don't like how that sounds. It takes me like 7 or 8 cuts just to get that right one that you like. So, I mean, just for what you do out in the ring and just be comfortable and you know what you're saying, you're confident, when you announce the wrestlers that are coming out. I mean, that takes skill and that takes time, and I mean, of course, anyone can do it if you have that dedication like you do.
Thank you, man. That means a lot.
Now, is there any wrestler in TASW that you get more hyped announcing to the ring more than anybody? Like,
Um, I'd throw out Estrella Galactica. Estrella Galactica, man, he's a fan favorite. Love announcing him. The crowd just gets so hyped when he comes out to the ring. So he just brings this sense of energy. Your Texas All Star Wrestling heavyweight champion, Mr. 5K himself, Nate Bradley. He's a great guy. Cam the Nighthawk Rockwell, your cruiserweight champion, and even though he's kind of a Catholic schoolgirl, that ENX, he brings a cool element to the table too. So I mean, honestly, I don't know if there's anyone that I don't enjoy announcing. Bionic Silverback, Nate Slater. I mean, I can sit here and name them all off right now. The Nurse Shark, Chris Kiwi Cruz, the Titan, RVs, Ryan Love Muscle Russell. Just all those guys, man. I love it.
Yeah, I see Dan have a question, but I just want to mention this. When we went to the one where Nate and Nate were both going against each other, after you announced and went to the back and you heard that big chop, what was going through your head?
I thought that he died. No, I literally was like, there's no way that he just chopped him in midair. I pictured and imagined right after that just a fly swatter, you know, just man. Slater don't play. Violence over everything, and he means it.
Okay, so I have a question and a compliment. We were talking earlier about how you're starting to see fans wearing your merch in the crowd and all that. And personally, I'm a fan. The you bring a certain level of intensity, and just the crowd gets amped up. Like every time you come out, like I don't know if it's the energy, the presentation, the tone of your voice, or a combination of every bit of it. But I love when you come to the ring because it's like I'm getting amped up at what you're saying. I'm getting amped up because I know we're about to start another match. Like you do a phenomenal job. So that's my compliment. And my question, I've actually had it in my back pocket here for about 15, 20 minutes now. And Daniel kind of halfway stole it from me, but I'm gonna word it a little differently. Professionally speaking, and this might be like a multi-part question here, but professionally speaking, do you make any attempt to not have like a specific favorite wrestler, not necessarily to announce, but just in general? Like, do you try not to have a favorite wrestler within TSW, or is it encouraged? Like, would you say you're allowed to be a fan as well as a ring announcer?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that there's definitely some freedom that goes along with it. Um, I wouldn't say that there's necessarily anyone that I go out of my way to not be a fan of, but there is a bone that I have to pick with, I would say, and I think that anyone would, and that's with the tribe. Um, I don't know if you guys were there for that show. I believe it was last year, but it was an April 29th show, and my birthday is April 28th, and my brother-in-law's birthday is April 29th. So it's kind of like our birthday weekend, and we're brothers, and we celebrate together. And he came out to the show on his birthday, and that means a lot for someone to go out of their way on their birthday to show some support for you. And I wanted to show a little bit of love back, and I got him a birthday cake, and Jesse Logan and Lobo Johnson came out to the ring, and they took my freaking birthday cake, and they decided to pretend that they were going to take this picture with my brother-in-law and then stuff the cake so far in his face that it went up his nose. So, he didn't bring a change of clothes. He wasn't anticipating anything like that, and it's supposed to be his day. And Lobo Johnson and Jesse Logan think that they can just walk around and do whatever they want. So, I got a little bit of a scowl on my face when I have to say his name. I would say that.
Understandable.
So I know tomorrow night is the 31st annual Humble Rumble.
Humble Rumble 31.
And what's your I'm trying to figure out how to answer this. I mean, what's your thoughts going into that one? Like any match in particular that you're looking forward to seeing?
I think that the Rumble is always kind of that spotlight. Um, I might have a few tricks up my sleeve. I might show up with, something new, something flashy. Who knows? The Humble Rumble events, obviously, every year, through the anniversary, there's that special aroma that comes along with it. So, anytime that we have these events, there's just this next level of anticipation. So. I know that we're going to see some six-man tag team action as well. That's going to be really cool. And man, I like to stay real calm, cool, and collected before it's time for the show, because about 30 minutes to 45 minutes right before, the inside of me, I'm just like, I'm freaking out. Like, man, I'm so pumped. I'm jittery, and I get all the butterflies. And I really like to wait until I'm there and just feel it in the moment, because it really just feels like you're a part of it with everybody else. So, but man, the Rumble last time around we were in Humble, it got a little crazy. We had trash can lids flying around the place. We had, I want to say, Legos. We had whiteboards smashed over people's faces. So who knows what we'll see this time around.
I'm actually wanting to see a cage match at Texas All Star. I'm waiting for y'all to mention that there's a cage match, because that's gonna be, we watch WWE and we see cage matches all the time, but for someone like me that's just now getting into independent wrestling, I would love to see that. Do you think that's in the future?
I think that it's definitely possible. I want to say, if my memory does me right, that we had an event a while back. It was Rage in the Cage, where I want to say every event was in a steel cage, or um, I could be mistaken, but I definitely think that that's possible. And we have a great promoter in Mr. Bob Murphy. So I'm sure he's going to be watching this, and maybe you just planted a few seeds, pal.
Ooh.
Way to go, Tim.
Now we went to the Conroe Rumble a couple months back. Was me and Tim's first TASW event. Isaiah's been to a couple of them. Now, the difference between the Conroe Rumble and the Humble Rumble, is there more participants in the Humble Rumble?
I would say that when we're in Humble, like those shows are just, I feel like they're really big shows.
Okay.
I think that there's some more talent that gets involved, and not just guys that have been around the block, but there's going to be some debuts, and you're going to see some new faces as well. Excuse me, and I think that that's kind of part of the excitement, because it's that wild card factor on not necessarily knowing like what's coming up next. So the Humble shows are just like I said earlier, they're very special, and they're definitely something that I always look forward to.
I've got a pretty far-fetched question for you, but if you could be a promoter
Yeah.
for TSW, what would be like a storyline that you would love to see? Like with any particular one wrestler, a tag team, if you could just make something up right now. They're like, "Hey, we need you to come. We need new ideas. What do you got?"
The hot seat.
Hmm. Just just on the fly.
Yeah, just off the top of your head.
Hmm.
I'll help you out. I'll help you out. I'll throw mine out there first to give you a little bit more time.
Okay. Okay.
Unfortunately, I wasn't there to see the show, but I want to see a tag team title run with Nate Bradley and Estrella. Those two are probably two of the most exciting wrestlers on the roster, high flyers, high speed, all gas, no brakes. You put those
Yeah.
two against any other two, I don't care about size difference. Those guys, they would dominate. I want to see a tag team title run with those two.
Ooh, I got one too. I got one too. Oh, I got
So
one too.
I'll raise you up one level, and this is kind of where I was thinking. Um, and it's funny that you mentioned Nate Bradley, because my mind was going towards Nate Bradley and Chris Cruz. Those guys have natural chemistry with one another,
Yes.
and as you know, they're the International Players Club, and it'd be cool to see that International Players Club come to life in Texas All Star Wrestling. And as I said, I got a bone to pick with the tribe. So anyone who's willing to step up to the plate and give those guys a challenge, then let's go.
All right, I'm throwing mine out there really quick because one, I'm partly bummed because I can't make the show tomorrow to see the Fatal Four Way main event, right? I thought that was going to be the show next weekend that I will be at. But this is what I want to see happen. I want to see my boy Nate Bradley retain his title, right? I
Right.
want him and Jordan Jensen to have a best of 7 series for that belt. The final match culminates in a ladder match for the TASW Heavyweight Championship. That's what I want to see. Ever since seeing them two at the Conroe Rumble, I've marked out for them ever since.
I
So,
like it.
Nate, if you're listening, make it happen. You have me on Messenger. Message me. Let's do this.
Oh my goodness, Daniel. Good Lord. Oh.
You need ideas? Ask me.
He's got
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Daniel is one of our guy that has that open mind about every wrestling, and he'll sit there and tell you his opinion, and then boom, it's happening for some reason. So
Hey,
it,
you gotta speak into existence. You know what I'm saying?
I
exactly.
mean, I hate to toot my horn as a wrestling fan, but honk, honk. I'm good. I'm good. I've watched wrestling for so long. I'm so good. I really am.
So
Well, we had Nate on, and I said I asked him who his dream tag team partner would be, and I told him that mine was Australia. And then the very next show at the Cypress VFW, they ended up setting up the tag team match for the following show, which we weren't able to make it. But so I spoke that into existence. So now I'm just going to push it a little bit further along, and let's see a title run with those two.
And speaking of that episode, it's Saturday Night's Main Event, episode 7. Check us out on our YouTube.
yeah, that one was actually good. So talking about all this and everything like that, what are your hobbies outside of being a ring announcer? What do you like to do besides what you do on a daily for, Texas All Star?
Yeah. So obviously I announce and used to holding that microphone. So actually something I love to do is I like to go karaoke a lot. I like to sing and have a good time, and I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of a sappy karaoke type of guy, not the one that goes in and kind of starts the party, but kind of singing some love songs and fill the room with a little bit of I think I said Aurora earlier, but just kind of set the mood. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I love. That I'm actually gonna do a karaoke competition in August. So just it's just fun, and I've done a karaoke competition on a cruise ship before too. So I like to sing, and I like to listen to other people sing. Go to a lot of indie music events around the Houston area of guys kind of up and coming. I like to listen to like some pop punk and stuff of that nature. I'm a video gamer actually. Before this podcast got started, I bought an Alienware monitor, so I was actually putting it together and trying to figure it out, and was fighting with it a little bit. So, video games and sometimes even some nerdy cards, Magic the Gathering and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Little bit of everything.
Yeah,
nice.
Magic the Gathering is, I mean, if none of y'all know what it is besides Steven here, I mean, that game is one of the games that you have to sit down and really, you have to read. It's a lot of
Hmm.
reading, and you got to know what you're doing. And I've played it before too. Didn't last long. I don't like to read. I'll play it on my phone. I'll play it on the, Xbox or whatever. But yeah, too much reading for me.
My brothers grew up playing it. I never got into it, but yeah, two of my brothers who live about 10-15 minutes from me, they meet up like once a week and they all play, and a couple of my nephews play. I'm
Yeah,
familiar with it.
it was never my thing. Like, I don't disrespect people that play it. It's just too complex.
It's
It's
very complicated.
like D&D. Like, I can't do it.
Oh, for sure.
I appreciate it. I just can't do it.
I'd rather play
I just
Magic
like,
the Gathering and instead of playing like Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think for me, it's like, I mean, video games are great, and you can put your headset on and you can talk to the boys, and that's awesome. But there's something about going to the table and playing physically face to face with your homies, and just being able to chop it up and give each other a hard time, and it's challenging for the brain too, and I like that. I like things that come a little challenging. Um, and then when you win a game, it's kind of like when you're playing with your friends, you gotta rub it in a little bit and poke fun. And so, yeah,
Have you got your hands on this bad boy yet?
of course,
What do you think of it?
I like it a lot. I'm gonna be truthful. I haven't explored a whole lot of it because one of my favorite things in it is going to be the my GM mode. The GM mode back in the day, oh 06, oh 07, oh 08, that was like my favorite thing to do. And now that I think it returned last year,
Yeah.
truthfully, I played multiple years and seasons, and then once I end my season, I start up a new one. I love picking Xavier Woods on it
Yeah.
because he has this special ability where he can steal like one person from any roster. So after you do the draft, if you didn't get that one guy that you wanted, or even if you're just trying to build your talent, your card, then you can keep in mind like I'm gonna go get that guy later, and go ahead and start building around it, almost like an NFL draft or something like that.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, I was
Oh,
gonna say because I actually I haven't gotten the game yet, but I have last year's, and it took me almost 5 months, and I finally made it to the Hall of Fame with Adam. And I
uh,
mean, it was tough. It was tough. I mean, I almost got to the point where because you play with them from the crowd and everything. You earn that money and stuff, and
star matches and
yeah, and so trying to match and I finally understood how to match everybody up correctly for that perfect match, and I was learning how to do, the main event, and then you got to have that good one for the first match. I finally started learning towards the end, and that's when I finally was like, oh, I made a Hall of Fame, cool. And then I tried to start a new one, and then of course that one just went to crap, and that's when I stopped playing because life gets in the way, but I'm excited to play the new one. From what I've seen with Dan, I've seen YouTube's, it looks awesome.
The roster selection too.
I don't think I sent you the picture, but did you see the new Texas All-Star Wrestling Arena? What's this thing?
No way.
Yeah,
No way.
damn it. Yeah, I made it. It's a Texas All-Star Wrestling Saturday night's main event joint show.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Dude.
I made it like a high school gymnasium, and I'm working on the TASW roster, and I'm going to call it TASW 2K24.
Hey, Daniel, I have a question now that you showed that.
What's up, buddy?
Like all of the created wrestlers and stuff that people upload to, I'm going to call the cloud because I don't know what it's actually called. But
Community Creations.
I knew you would know. Rain Man. Is that cross-platform? Like, if you uploaded that, can I download that on my Xbox?
Yes, you can. What you would do is you would just type in my gamer tag under specific creator, and you can pull up everything that I've ever uploaded.
Nice.
I'm downloading it tonight.
Because what I'm doing is I'm messaging all of y'all to get y'all's logos, and I'm gonna upload them on there, and then start creating y'all, and then I'll have the whole TASW roster on the game.
Roster. Oh,
Right.
yeah.
So Daniel is our wrestling savant. Like he's Rain Man of the wrestling world. I would never ever try to go against him in wrestling trivia. He would mutilate anybody that I know.
You can ask me like the most random question was like, how many people were in the crowd at WrestleMania 17 at the Houston Astrodome? Yeah, 67,925 people. Yeah.
I mean, and you can even ask him, who main event at WrestleMania 20, and he'll be able to tell you.
Chris Benoit, Shawn Michaels, and Triple H for the World Heavyweight Championship.
That was a hypothetical, and he actually knew it.
See what we're saying? So yeah, he's if we have a wrestling question, he's our man.
He's our encyclopedia.
I tell you what, I might not be able to beat you in wrestling trivia because it seems like you got some files that just never got stored away. They're still open tabs. But what I might be able to beat you at and challenge you at is at 2K24. You know what I'm saying? So maybe we'll have to run this back sometime.
Okay.
I see a challenge.
Stream it. I'm watching.
Yep.
So what you need to do is after we're done, send me your gamer tag.
I got you.
And I will add you.
See, I can't play with any of y'all because it's not cross-platform. I play on a computer. I don't play on Xbox.
Have you played with spectator mode yet?
I don't think so.
So when you start the match, hit start and change the controller assignment to where the computer is playing, right? And you hit like the B button and you can change the camera angle and you can do like free camera where you go all over the arena. So it's cool kind of like putting the camera in the crowd and seeing what it looks like from like a fan's point of view.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I do live commentary on this YouTube page here. I'm going to start uploading live commentary with the computer playing because you can turn the commentary off on the game, and I love it. But it's cool playing with that free camera. You can go like up at the top of the venue and watch it from the nosebleeds. It's so cool.
One thing that I will say though, because with the schedule and everything, I don't get a whole lot of time. So when I'm doing the GM mode, I'm going to play a match, and you're tapping X and you're trying to skip past the scenes real quick to get to it. Well, I find myself that when you do that, before they even like ring the bell, if you're doing that, then like they'll throw a strike. So my guy will like go for a drop kick, and then they'll ring the bell, and I'm like getting up from a drop kick, and then the guy's like rushing me, and I'm like, no. So I gotta figure that out.
Did you ever play AEW Fight Forever?
I have not yet. I plan on getting it on my Switch.
I will let you know right now. Just be prepared to spend the money on that game.
Yeah.
Just
like
the DLC.
The in currency, yeah.
Yeah.
No, like real money.
Yeah.
The DLC. A lot of people are complaining about it because it's like $11 for like one character. Like, you promised us so much stuff when this game came out. Like, these should be free updates. Like, but now it's good. If you like the old N64 wrestling games, you'll love it.
Yeah.
You'll love it. I love it.
So, getting into a little bit now because we're talking about video games.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts about this past weekend's WrestleMania?
Man, I think every match felt huge. Um, you didn't really know either way how anything was gonna go. I think the only thing that I was really like, I think this is gonna happen was Logan Paul winning the United States Championship, even though I wanted Kevin Owens. But man, I mean Logan has sprouted up so quickly. It's crazy, and I don't think that he necessarily always gets all the credit that he deserves. But top to bottom, I think the whole thing was just a spectacle. So I think saying that it's the biggest WrestleMania is, that's not far fetched. I think that's true. So,
I mean, Triple H said it at the press conference. He goes, no disrespect to all the WrestleManias, but this by far has been the best one. It's going to be the one that everybody talks about from here on out. Like they're gonna just talk about this WrestleMania, and I agree with you. I was going for Kevin Owens myself, and to see Logan Paul win again, I get it. It was a 3-way, anything goes, but yeah, Logan Paul has come up. I'm not a big fan of Logan Paul. I'm really not. But I was going for
haters gonna hate, man.
Yeah, I mean, I was going for either Randy or Kevin Owens, but
sure.
Logan came out on top. It's any man's game when it's that way. The one that I was really, really surprised about, but I even called it, was Gunther and Sammy.
Yeah.
That one, even Dan said that he had to go back and rewatch the match. I mean, he deserved it. He deserved it.
I mean, I think for Sammy and last year being at WrestleMania and being able to win the tag team championships with Kevin Owens, and then following into this year, and then now winning the Intercontinental Championship from the guy that's had the longest reigning Intercontinental Championship of all time, I think just speaks to his spirit and his will to fight, man. And it's a championship caliber guy, and Sammy's one of my favorites to watch too. I also agree. I need to go back and rewatch that match, but I truthfully I was not thinking that was going to happen. I thought that Gunther was going to keep moving on with that title reign, and for it to end at 666 days is wild.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It is.
As we were sitting here talking about the Logan Paul match, so admittedly, these guys know it. I'm much more of an Attitude Era WWE fan than modern day. I'm in the process of kind of rekindling my WWE fandom. Slowly but surely, I did buy WWE 2K24.
There we go.
And I did watch WrestleMania, and we watched the Rumble. We actually live streamed it. But as far as my modern day guys, Logan Paul is one of the two that I'm drawing to. And as we were talking about this, and I remembered something else that you had said, because you had mentioned one of my other guys that I really like was Shelton Benjamin. And I think there's a lot of similarities there, and that's probably why I'm being drawn to Logan Paul. Like, I don't think they're the same size. I think Shelton might have been a little bit bigger, but there's a lot of physical attributes in their style that's very similar. And I think that's probably why Logan's probably one of my favorites.
I could see some of those similarities for sure.
Like, Logan Paul shouldn't be as good as he is.
No.
He gets better every time. Like, I have no hate towards him.
I mean, I don't have hate either. I'm just saying, as a fan, sitting back, I don't like him. And that's because he's playing his character so well. And that's what, the entertainment's about, is if they can sell their character that way, keep it going.
Is that a character, though, or is that just That's just
Yeah.
Logan Paul.
Yeah, or
You know what I mean?
extension
Like,
of the real person.
Yeah, I mean
that's Logan Paul, man.
that's what I think that's what's confusing me because it's like everyone has their character in WWE. You know, like Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes. You know, everybody that's there has their set character, and they're either heel or they're a face. Logan Paul is just one of those ones where you're like, okay, what are you? Are you yourself, or you? Which one are you? I mean, I know he's playing heel and he's playing it really well, but
Now, that's actually funny that you say that. Have you ever had one of those, like, never meet your heroes kind of moment?
yeah,
Um, I would say yes and no. Um, I think everyone kind of does, but um, yeah, I don't know if I should elaborate on that necessarily. But yeah, I think I've had it, and maybe not necessarily my hero per se, but um, I mean, being able to, be a fan of, and watch it, and then being able to actually know those guys. It's a cutthroat business. It's not. I mean, yeah, you have friends that are definitely there, but not only are you, you're competing. Like
mm-hmm.
you're trying to get yourself out there, and everyone takes it a little bit differently, but I mean, there's some guys that really they make it up there, and they think they're it, and rightfully so if they've proven that for themselves. But sure, I'd say sure.
Yeah, I've had one, and I got cussed at by a WWE wrestler. And after that, yep, my fandom for him changed.
I
Literally cussed me.
How have I not heard this story before?
Long story short, I was at a house show at Toyota Center, and me and my buddy always went early so we could watch them drive into the back. And some of them would stop and sign your stuff, and some of them were really cool. Like the coolest person ever was Bray Wyatt. He stopped
Yeah.
his truck, and I was like, Bray, can you sign this? He let me come around the guardrail to his driver's side door, and he grabbed my magazine and he signed it for me. And he patted me on the shoulder and goes, I hope you have a great time tonight, bud. Super cool. I will never forget that. But do you remember a tag team in WWE called the Ascension?
Yeah,
Remember Connor and Victor?
of course.
So I don't remember. I think it was Connor was the bigger one, but Victor, I was a huge fan of them. I just liked them a lot from NXT. And I was watching the smaller one drive into the parking garage behind Toyota Center. And all I did, I was 50 feet away from this dude. All I did was lifted up my magazine with my pen, and he goes, "Don't you see I'm driving, motherfucker?" And I was like, "Oh, wow, okay. Well, I hope you fucking lose tonight." That was that was bad. I was embarrassed. Like,
I got to meet HBK at a minor league hockey game. I don't know how much they paid for him to be there, but this was like 04, 05, and it was a double-A minor league hockey team. And they had a table set up for him to sign autographs. There was a line wrapped all the way around the arena, but I got to shake his hand, and he signed my hockey jersey.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
he's like, oh my God, I have sexy boy sweat on me. Don't want to wipe it off.
I was probably 10 years old. My dad took me to a show at the Cape Girardeau, and I remember seeing guys come out of the bus and got a bunch of signatures that day. I think like Orton and Paul London, Brian Kendrick, Mickey James, so on and so forth. But Mr. Kennedy was there, and I loved Mr. Kennedy. Obviously, maybe that's why I enjoy announcing so much, watching Mr. Kennedy come out there and do it himself. But I was like, Mr. Kennedy, freaking out, 10 years old. And had him come over, had my notebook ready, and he came over and, let go of his suitcase. And then he grabs my notebook and my Sharpie, and he He goes to sign it, and then he hands it back to me. And I look at my notebook, there's nothing there. And I'm like, huh? And like I look up, and he just flips me off. And I'm like, like what's going on? And my dad's obviously like irate at this point. I think that's the one that he ended up facing Chris Jericho that night. Obviously already a Chris Jericho fan, so it threw more fuel on the fire. But that's definitely probably like one of my favorite, FU moments as far as meeting one of the guys. So
Wow. What?
And one I would hate to. Well, maybe now I'd love to meet, but I wouldn't be surprised if he does heel shit like he's known to do. Would be MJF. I've seen him sign people's things and just throw it, literally.
what?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You know who MJF is, right?
Of course.
Yeah. He'll sign like I've seen videos where he'll sign like a kid's action figure still in the box and just hurl it across the room. Or he had a meet and greet with a guy that had cerebral palsy, so he can't walk. And he goes, "Hey, you know the difference between me and you is?" And he stood up and goes, "I can walk. You can't." And I'm like, oh, but the thing is, he's playing a heel character. Like, there's things that he's done that I don't see how it does not cause riots.
Wow.
Crazy shit.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Wow. Wow. What was your thoughts about and I'm gonna mention a little more about the ones that won the titles. What was your thoughts about Io Sky and Bailey?
I think that honestly, as far as like matchups go, I think that's, in my opinion, probably the best match at WrestleMania. I think that as years go by, people are going to be looking back at that. And truthfully, I think it's one of those that should be studied. I think people knew, like going into it, that it was going to be a good match, but I think that delivered above expectations. I'm glad that you brought that up because I remember I watched it with a bunch of the Texas All Star guys, and I remember just like sitting there like just zoned in, jaw dropped, like man, not enough credit I think for either of those. I think for a while, as Damage Control was going by, I think um, Bailey kind of became a second thought within that,
Mm-hmm.
and it just goes to show throughout time that she's obviously never lost a step, but she gained a lot more in the process. So
Yeah, I mean, because my opinion on that one was, I was going for Bailey, no matter what, if she lost or won, I was going for Bailey. But to me, and this is my opinion, Dan, you can disagree. I don't care.
He will.
But it just proved to the WWE universe that Io Sky couldn't do it on her own without Damage Control.
yeah, good point.
Because if they would have came in and interfered, she would have still had the title.
For sure.
And this showed everybody that with everything that happened leading up to WrestleMania, what Bailey actually has and what talent she has, because how she was able just to handle herself in the ring with Io Sky. I mean, that was by far. The other one that I thought was a really good one was Rhea Ripley.
Yeah.
Dude, her entrance was badass, dude.
The long hair is what got me.
Oh, mommy's always on top.
Oh, get out of here.
I'm sorry.
think-
I'm sorry, dude. My jaw drops every time she's on TV.
She is not all that.
I
You
think that
stretch your
her
face.
makeup was really cool. Like it really made it look like her eyes were like popping out of her face. So
Yeah. What was your This one's I got two more big ones. What was your thoughts about uh Damian Priest cashing in finally?
I think that was probably one of the most exciting things for me throughout WrestleMania. I was kind of joking with the boys about what was going to happen, and I was really pulling for that to happen. And I have a friend who's Puerto Rican. Shout out Kenny, and he was hooping and hollering,
Mhm.
really wanting him to win. And after it was over, he was grabbing his Puerto Rican flag and running around the house, flapping it. So, man, Damien, Damien really deserves it.
Yeah.
I mean, I really like Judgment Day overall, but I think that was like the perfect moment. And I think something that's really cool too is not only did he cash in, but um, sorry, my ball
Oh, you're
moving
good.
around. Uh, um, with the attack from Punk on McIntyre, and then obviously Damien being able to run in and cash in. Sure, Damien was able to cash in, but two, like to do it in front of CM Punk, who like obviously has prestige in cashing in the Money in the Bank. Like I think like it puts it in that mindset, like he gets it. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So I think that was kind of an extra icing on the cake. So
Well,
man,
and that's one of the things that um I was talking to Dan about during after that match is, you know, Drew would have still had the title if he would have just grabbed it, did his little thing in the ring, went to his wife, did what he needed to do with his wife, and then walk out. He would have still had it. But because of that feud between him and CM Punk, he wasted time. CM Punk took that advantage, and Priest saw it on the screen backstage. Boom, he ran out, cashed in. Now he has the title, which I agree with you. He deserves the title.
Yes, he does.
He really does. He's grown so much in the business from when he first started to now. And I've told Dan this too, and Isaiah, I have a feeling with him having the title now. Don't know how long he's gonna have it, but I feel like this is something that is going to come about. That something's gonna happen to the Judgment Day. Now that he has a title.
I rebuke it. Don't be talking like that.
No, and I'm not saying it in a bad way. I'm not.
No, I hear you.
I just have, because of what's been going on with the Judgment Day and Damian Priest starting to wanting to be in charge instead of mommy.
Mm.
I feel like it's going to cause a feud now that he has the title. Something's going to happen down the road, and he's going to end up leaving Judgment Day.
That's
So
possible.
let me do this. Let me flip the script on you guys real quick.
Okay.
Let me bring my interviewing skills to the table for the Saturday Night Main Event podcast. Okay. If you gentlemen could have any one member join the Judgment Day, who would you choose?
R-Truth.
He's already in it.
And you're talking current roster?
Yeah, current roster. Anyone that you could have. Who would you have?
Oh, I like how he puts us in the hot seat now, like he hosts the show.
Hey, we like to be in the hot seat every now and then.
Oh,
I at least
shit.
gave you a warning.
That's
Hey,
a real good question.
I'm still getting to know all the new age guys, so I really don't have much to offer on this one.
Well, who would you pick if you picked an older guy
I'm still gonna let Daniel go first.
then?
It would probably be somebody from NXT
Okay.
that still has something to prove. But who from NXT though? That's the question. Damn that dude, I'm running a blank.
All good.
Who would you pick, Tim, other than R-Truth, since he's already in it?
Um,
You know what?
shoot, let's see here. If there was anybody to join, mm, I see what you are saying.
You know what? I think I have a pick.
Who?
I think I have a pick. I'm a huge Charlie Dempsey fan, which is William Regal's son.
Yeah.
Have him come over and be kind of like the technical workhorse of the Judgment Day, like the one that goes and has 25 minute like wrestling matches, like pure catch as catch can wrestling. I think he'd do good.
I like it.
I mean, for me, it's still hard because, of course, we like the commentary, what's going on with R-Truth. But man, this one's hard.
That or Lexus King, which is Brian Pillman Jr.
Ooh.
You
Brian
know,
Pillman Jr. would be a
e-
good one as well.
even though he's part of the bloodline, I would actually say Solo, just because of his attitude.
Okay.
See, I'm going off of attitude, not just, appearance or anything. I'm going after who plays a really good heel. And I would actually say if he wasn't part of Bloodline, it would have to be Solo. I can see him coming over to the Judgment Day. What do you think, Daniel? I saw you shaking your head.
It wouldn't fit.
It wouldn't fit. It really wouldn't fit. But if I had to choose, like if I was, like how you put us on the spot, if I had to choose like right now, it would have to be Solo. Just because of his attitude.
It's a different dynamic.
Did you watch SmackDown tonight?
I caught bits and pieces, but I did get to see that part, yeah.
The debut?
Tama?
Yeah. Oh, that's so good.
So we got a new tribal chief.
I've always been a huge Tama Tonga fan.
Looks like Solo's going to be the new tribal chief, and Paul's going to be kicked out.
And it begs the question, just how deep does the bloodline run?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems like it's a never-ending stream.
I'm curious to see what happens with The Rock and Cody. After what he said this past Monday, I'm really wanting to see that. I mean, I know we're not going to see The Rock for a while because he's doing movies right now, but come WrestleMania 41, I see a big match coming between him and Rock.
I hope they don't break my heart.
Uh-oh. Why, you want Cody?
No, just the...
Remember, The Rock said, just don't break my heart again.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Well, talking about the Cody deal, what was your thoughts about the match from night 1 into night 2?
I mean, I think that it makes sense for the bloodline to win night 1. And then obviously like Rock pinning Cody, one, it makes Cody look like he couldn't even do it then. So how is he going to do it night 2?
Yeah.
And obviously after WrestleMania's been over, it seems like we have some waiting to do to see that down the road. And The Rock's right. He pinned Cody in the center of that ring 1, 2, 3, and you're not just talking about pinning Cody Rhodes anymore. You're talking about pinning the undisputed WWE champion. And then going into night 2, I think it's what people kind of thought that it was going to be, as far as almost like Marvel Avengers Civil War. Like
you saw that TikTok.
It's time to go.
Yeah.
And obviously Undertaker coming out was a huge surprise, but I think that makes sense too. who can take out The Rock? You know, like this isn't some jabroni we're talking about here. Um, who's better than the Dead Man? You know, and what a force. You know, like how do you at WrestleMania? We're not just talking about the Dead Man. We're talking about the Dead Man at WrestleMania. So it's a whole different beast. Um, and then the story of itself. I mean, obviously, of Cody winning the championship, but I think I think that I think that it's beautiful, truthfully, and not just from a standpoint of wrestling, but I think that like growing up, like I said from the beginning of our podcast, like watching wrestling from a very young age, wrestling taught me so much in life. Not just like being a fan of what's going on, but that story in there of Roman had the opportunity to remain the WWE Undisputed Champion and continue his reign past what 1,316 days, but he couldn't let go of what has happened to him in his past and in his life. And by not letting go of those things, it was the very thing that caused his demise and caused him to lose the thing that he held closest.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like that's beautiful in wrestling, but I think that story itself can literally speak to people's actual lives. And I don't know if a lot of people necessarily look at it that way, but like that is the to me the aspect of why I love wrestling. I don't think that there's been a story as impeccable as what we just saw, and I don't know necessarily when we'll see something like that again. I mean, what once in a lifetime? How do you beat 1,316 days as WWE Undisputed Champion?
And I
So
don't see it coming for a while because I mean even Triple H said it. You know, it's not going to be the same. And this is a
no,
new era, and you know we do see changes. I mean, me, Daniel, and Isaiah have talked about it. It's gotten to the point, you know, I stopped watching wrestling for so long, and then right after WrestleMania 39, that's when I started watching it again. I'm like, man, there's new guys. You still got some old ones where I grew up with, you know, with Roman, Seth, being in the Shield, and then now they're on their own. It's just it's grabbed my attention. But now that we're in an era of just Triple H running the show, it's made it to the point now. It's like I can't wait for Monday Night Raw to come on. I can't wait for SmackDown to come on because you never know what's happening between both of them because the storylines are going it's together, you know. And so I'm loving that. They're bringing that back and I'm just loving it. And then, you know, talking about Roman and his title reign. I mean, yeah, I'm not a big Roman fan. I used to be until he became who he was with the title. Um but to see what happened, and I told the guys this, if Cody didn't win because they were hyping it up so much, if Cody didn't win, I feel like it would have WWE would have lost a lot of fans. Not just because of Cody Crybabies, but because of how bad they hyped up the story. And a lot of people were getting tired of the Bloodline story. They were ready for something new. So, but I agree with you. Best story that I've ever seen going into WrestleMania 40. By far, I have to say, with all the WrestleMania matches that were that weekend, that one had been the far because I was sitting there. I was even texting Dan, going back and forth, and I was like, no, John Cena's not coming out. No. And here he comes. You know, hearing his music. And then all of a sudden, you hear the bell. And I'm like, what? Undertaker? What's happening here? Best thing, and if you actually, I think I saw it on TikTok or I saw it on Facebook. if you look at all the people that came out, they represented one of the WrestleMania eras. You know, Undertaker and Rock, John Cena and The Rock. Like every single one represented a WrestleMania event between all of them. And that was what was cool about it. Because if you remember any of them, that was one of them. And that's what caught my eye. Not just because Cody won. I'm a big Cody fan, if you can tell from the back. But, and you, Dan will make fun of me all he wants because I've been a Cody fan since day one. And never left. And I say he's going to be the next one to hold the title. No, he's not. Remember that, Dan? Remember that?
Yep. Yep.
But anyways, this is about the time that we start wrapping up everything. And we want to leave out before we close. Where can people find you? Where do you have merch online, anything like that? This basically, we're giving you the floor, and you do your thing, because like you always do in the ring, this is your time to shine.
Yeah, so I guess I just first would just like to address everybody and thank everyone for tuning in and watching here tonight. And then if you're watching in the future as well, my name's Steven Stellar, if you didn't catch that already. And you can find me, Steven Stellar, on Facebook. You can also find me on Instagram at ShowtimeSteve01, the voice of Texas All-Star Wrestling. Texas All-Star Wrestling is going to be in Humble for Humble Rumble 31 tomorrow. Be sure to get tickets at taswwrestling.com. We're also going to be returning to Cyprus next week, April 20th, for Taking Care of Business. And then we will be at Comic Palooza Friday, May 24th. So again, taswwrestling.com. Secure your tickets. Come see Steven Stellar at Texas All-Star Wrestling. Grab yourself a Steven Stellar t-shirt and some Steven Stellar stickers. Appreciate all the love, appreciate all the support, and I appreciate each and every single one of you guys for inviting me here. And this has been a great time, and I've really enjoyed just being able to chat with you guys, and looking forward to seeing you guys again.
Of course, we'll be at the shows when we can, and yelling your name like we always do. And
yeah, I'll be at Taking Care of Business next week. So
perfect.
Unfortunately, I wish my bros could be there, but wife's birthday and he can't make it, so they'll be there in spirit.
I'm gonna try, but I can't make any promises.
Yeah, that's my wife's birthday. I would be murdered if
yeah.
I was like, hey, it's your birthday. You want to go to a wrestling show?
Yeah, I told Isaiah that's a bear to not poke with. So let's just we'll rejoin another time.
Yes.
Hey, until our paths cross again.
Yeah, of course. Any final thoughts, guys?
Send us home.
Well, before we do that, any final words or thoughts?
And I enjoyed it. This one was fun.
Hey, just keep doing what you're doing, man. It's electrifying. Like I love when you're in the ring. I love what you're doing. You bring that energy, bring that excitement. Everyone feels it. Just keep doing what you're doing. We're fans.
Thank you, man. That means a lot.
Yes. And once again, from all of us, thank you for being on the show. You're welcome back at any time. Of course, you know how to get a hold of us, get a hold of Dan. I'm on Facebook as well, so you can find me. But yeah, anytime you want to come back on, definitely we'll welcome you back, because we're trying to get everybody from Texas All-Star on, even the girls.
Sure.
Even the girls, but we want to see some of the girls' matches because we want to know who they are before they get on the show, because we don't want to be so what do you do? So other than that, yeah, thank you for being on the show, and anyone else watching, thank you for joining in. This has been one of the funnest times that we've had. This is our first time interviewing a ring announcer. Like he said, come check out the show. He's there every Saturday when they have a wrestling event going on. Also, we are on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on every podcast channel that you can find us on. And here going forward, of course, you have seen we are on YouTube live now. So hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you get those notifications when we go live on YouTube. Other than that, thank you for joining in. We will see y'all next week, either on Friday or Saturday, and we are out.